Good morning. I'm Ed Warner, the founder of the accessible design business Motionspot. I'm also the government sector champion for the design of accessible products and spaces. I'm delighted to be here supporting Horizon's Accessible Housing Summit, and many thanks to Lorna and her team for inviting me and for putting on today. The purpose of my session today is to really give you some insight into what's possible when designing really beautiful, flexible and future-proofed housing. Before I come on to talk about what's possible, I just wanted to let you know why I'm so passionate about this area. I started Motionspot in 2012 after the personal experience of an old school friend of mine and co-founder James Taylor, who was sadly paralysed in a diving accident aged 25. James returned home after 8 months in Stoke Mandeville to find his home, which looked very similar to this, needed to be adapted to suit his needs as a wheelchair user. Unfortunately, these were the products that were available to him and his wife, Catherine. It was something James said to me in 2011 that still resonates with me and the team today. He said, "Every morning I wake up and I'm reminded of my condition because the products around me." And I'm a big believer that if you get the environment right for people, you can really positively impact their cognitive and physical health. So we decided to look at the market and realised there was a real lack of options with any company blending function and form together to design really beautiful, accessible spaces, as well as a product selection that would work in the home. And that's where Motionspot was born almost 10 years ago now. And we've worked extensively over the last decade with commercial clients as well as residential clients in their own homes to design really beautiful spaces and products that work both now and in the future. And we do that by combining what we see as being absolutely critical to the design process. And that's this pairing together of global best practice and academic research with our own designers' knowledge and experience of what works in the market, but really importantly, talking to people who are ultimately going to be using these spaces. So for us, that co-design stage is such an important part of any design process. Whenever we start designing a new project, we think about who we're designing it for. Now that seems quite a straightforward statement, but it's amazing how many projects across the industry go ahead without really considering who's going to be using these spaces and how their needs may change over time. One of the areas that we work with most with our clients is around designing spaces to better suit the needs of someone with a physical impairment as well as cognitive or sensory differences, including neurodiversity. One of our frustrations is current building regulations, particularly around housing, is very much focused around design for physical disability, in particular wheelchair access. But in reality, only 8% of anyone with a disability in the UK is a wheelchair user. So we work to get our clients thinking about how they can not only design for wheelchair users, but also the 92% of people who may have another difference. We also get clients thinking about how temporary disabilities in the home could impact someone within the space and some of the design solutions. So for example, if someone had a hip replacement or cataracts, how can the home adapt to suit someone's requirements at that given time? And also just getting our clients to think about the situational differences and impairments that we all have in space. That could be, how do the acoustics of the home have an impact on how someone enjoys the experience in that home? So just getting people to think about who we're designing for is such a critical part of that design process. What I'm going to do just for the next few minutes is demonstrate what's possible from a design point of view in the main areas of the home: the bathroom, the kitchen, the bedroom and the living space. I haven't got long today, so I'm just going to fly through some of these principles, but there'll be plenty of time at the end for some questions. One of the biggest challenges in housing is always around the accessible bathroom. The biggest difficulty being that so often baths are specified over showers in these spaces. And where showers have been installed, what you'll so often find is a stepped access getting into the shower, which is such an unsafe environment for people. Outside of the shower, other common problems are the height of the loo seat. In this particular case, that toilet is positioned too low for someone with arthritis in knees or hips or wanting to transfer from a wheelchair. It also has a very fiddly flush on that toilet, which is really difficult to operate for someone with limited dexterity. The position of the towel rail or the radiator is particularly challenging there. It doesn't have a thermostatic element and could potentially scald someone who is using that for support, getting on and off the loo. And the basin, again, we see so many of these basins specified in the market with full floor-mounted pedestals. Makes it very difficult to get under the basin if you're a wheelchair user or just wanting to sit and perch whilst cleaning teeth or having a shave at that basin area. This is exactly the same space using a different set of design principles and products. So the type of design principles here are things like beautiful porcelain slip-resistant flooring, which gives the same slip-resistant properties as the more clinical-looking vinyl, a level access shower area with a shower seat that supports up to 150 kilograms of weight, a riser rail that holds the shower head in place, but also doubles as a grab bar, supporting up to 150 kilograms of support again. We've installed a higher toilet in this particular shower room, a toilet seat height that is 440 millimeters from the ground, which is just easier to get up from and also get down to. And we've also installed an L-shaped grab bar, which holds the toilet roll in place, but also helps somebody transfer on and off the toilet. There's a really accessible palm-operated or elbow-operated flush plate that doesn't require any newtons of force to depress and certainly doesn't require any dexterity in the fingers to operate. And we've installed a wall-hung basin, which is easy to get legs underneath, as well as a thermostatic tap and an insulated bottle trap to make sure that the trap underneath the sink or the basin isn't getting too hot that could potentially cause a scalding risk for somebody who's spending long periods of time at the basin. And we've also installed a really beautiful light mirror that's positioned at the right height for both someone standing as well as someone sitting. And I've also considered in this room storage opportunities. Again, storage is something that is so often an afterthought in an accessible bathroom and should be embedded as part of the design process from an early stage. For clients wanting greater flexibility in their bathrooms, we've designed some really innovative solutions like this system of removable grab rails and shower seats. This is an example of a hotel bathroom in central London that's had these fixings and chrome plates fitted to the walls, which you can see in the picture on the left. And in 5 minutes, you can totally refurbish that bathroom to install in the home, don't necessarily want to install a jungle gym of grab rails from the outset, but just want to give the flexibility to residents if they require it for a given period of time. Types of principles in the kitchen and also, looking at the challenges first associated in the picture on the left are things like the height of kitchen cabinets. Again, these cabinets are very high, very difficult for someone to access those cupboards if they have arthritis in shoulders or if they're shorter in stature. The other challenges here are the height of the oven, which is particularly inaccessible for someone in a wheelchair. And we see so many of these hobs with very fiddly controls. And also the controls for that particular hob are the same colour as the hob surface itself. So if someone has a visual impairment, it's very difficult to define where those controls are. The image on the right is just some of the design principles and products that can be used in an accessible and adaptable kitchen. So wall cabinets that are mounted slightly lower, that are easier to reach. Each of those wall cabinets has a drop-down basket to bring the contents of that cupboard towards whoever is using that kitchen space. We've designed in a number of drawers as opposed to cupboards, so much easier to pull contents out towards you rather than reach in towards the back of cabinets. We've also located an oven and microwave at an accessible height, as well as thinking about the controls on the hob to make sure that they contrast versus the hob surface itself. And that extractor fan is also Wi-Fi enabled to be able to come on when the hob activates, so that it prevents somebody from having to reach up and activate that hob. Type of design principles in accessible and adaptable bedrooms. Principles like thinking about the type of flooring. We so often see later living schemes in particular that have very thick pile carpet in these spaces, which is very difficult to navigate a wheelchair or a rollator across. We always look at designing in task lighting, particularly by the bed. Very good for older people who are processing less light through their eyes as they get older, just to have that task lighting for reading at night time. But also thinking about the circulation space in the room. So many older people want to be sleeping in separate beds in the same room. So having the ability to be able to split double beds into two singles, but still have the necessary circulation space and sockets in the right positions is important, as well as considering storage again. So many architects plan storage towards the end of the bed, which on plan view looks perfectly good, but actually in practice, when those wardrobe doors are open, it's so difficult to navigate past the end of the bed. So thinking upfront about, where storage can be positioned is a really important principle in the bedroom. This is just a bit of innovation I wanted to show you for any residents who require ceiling track hoists installed in their properties. We obviously know the benefit of ceiling track hoists and specify them on a number of projects, but from an aesthetics point of view, ceiling track hoists can look very medical and clunky within the space. This is a great example of a hotel room we've designed in Manchester for bespoke hotels, which is a recessed ceiling track hoist set into the soffit of the ceiling with a motor that's disguised in a cupboard. So you wouldn't necessarily know what it was or that it was there until the hoist was required. Again, it's just bringing a bit of creativity into the design process so that we can create really beautiful, accessible and future-proofed homes. Just in summary, because I'm conscious of time today, I just wanted to outline the benefits and the business case for getting adaptations right from an early stage. And for residents, the key benefits are the obvious ones around enhancing access and safety in properties. We also know that by putting these adaptations in at the right time, it significantly increases independence of the resident, but also independence of family members and carers. From all of our research, we know that the positive impact that improving aesthetics in the home can have on health and well-being for people. And we also know that by having really intuitive and easy to use fixtures and fittings that importantly are easier to clean, puts real trust in the housing operator who is putting in this type of housing, but just gives a great deal of satisfaction to residents as well. And from an operator's point of view, the benefits of getting adaptations right from the outset are not just around resident safety and independence, but we know we can help significantly improve property value over an extended period of time. Because by getting these types of designs and adaptations right, it means you don't have to rip out bathrooms and kitchens every time a new resident is in a property. It just gives the opportunity to flexibly adapt the property to suit the needs of everyone. And really importantly, the last point there is by designing more beautiful and accessible and future-proofed homes, we know there is a significant benefit on savings to local health and social care budgets. So it's about thinking about it early enough, getting creative around the type of designs, looking outside the norm when it comes to the standard sort of clinical products that tend to be associated with this space, and just planning it at that really early stage. Thank you very much for time today. I'm very happy to take some questions towards the end.